Hi, good afternoon.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good, fantastic. I love the habit stacking. Yes, that's what's up. I think this is going to be like a really good phase. Okay, can you hear me
Uh,
good?
yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so welcome to our Sunday coaching session. I just had to just tell you that. It's like, oh my gosh, that area looks so beautiful with your art supplies. It looks inviting.
Yeah, right now I'm currently on the mat on the floor because I just feel like being on the floor. Before joining the live, I just finished a little bit of somatic exercise, which kind of helps a lot, calming me down and feeling. Anyway, um, um, yeah.
Mhm. Good, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so um, I'm going to come back to that though. I definitely want to come back to that. So today in our coaching session, hopefully you have your journal, your tool for self-reflection out. We want to explore um, being overweight and in a rut, and how do we get out of a rut? Like, how can we help ourselves get out of a rut? How can we assist ourselves, right? Um, Firstly, can you even recognize um, that you do you want your camera on? Yes, no? It's
Oh, sorry, I said it's okay. You
okay.
haven't seen my face in a while.
Yeah, it's live though. Do you want me to?
You know,
We're fine. Okay. So, uh, how can we even recognize, or do we even recognize when we are in a rut, right? And first of all, like when you think of a rut, what comes to mind?
rut.
Mm-hmm.
Um, feeling stuck.
Mm-hmm.
No change at all. Everything is just the same every day. No stimulation. That's what a rut means to me, anyways.
That's pretty on point, especially when you say like feeling just stuck. And I think one of the biggest things is no change. I do want to bring attention to change, and a lot of times we can be so stuck on the change in the physical body, right? It's very easy. I would even say it's a conditioned habit, right? To be so focused on and the self talk saying I'm fat, or I want to get rid of this stomach, or I don't want cellulite, right? So much focus on what we don't want, but that has a whole feeling, right? We feel a way about ourselves that has us feeling like very judgmental in terms of what we're focusing on. That doesn't mean we want to lie to ourselves, right? And not claim what it is that you want to experience. I think that's also important, right? Because then you can go to the other extreme and never claim what it is that you want. Let's say, for example, maybe you want to experience what it feels like to see your visible six pack, to see a lean midsection, whatever that looks like, 6'4", whatever, just a lean, defined midsection. The other extreme is where we don't even claim it. And I see this a lot with women. We won't claim it because somewhere we feel like I've tried and I've failed, or I won't be able to achieve it, or it's going to be too much deprivation. So we never claim it, right? And somewhere in the back of our mind, subconscious, you think it's impossible, right? That I can't achieve it. So a rut, we do know there's no change, right? And a distinction that we can add in there. I love distinctions. Distinctions make a difference. Rather than just saying, look, there's no change, let's add some details in there in order to be able to approach it more, to make change and the steps to change more accessible for us. It's one thing to keep scrolling, looking at everybody else on social media, which I think also can make us feel kind of like a failure, right? Because subconsciously it's registering as everything that I'm not, or wishful thinking, wow, they can do it, I can't, or I wish I could. We can feel, the feeling is the most important. We can intellectualize all we want, but a lot of times we're left feeling like I can't, or we feel desperate, and that'll leave us open to want to try desperate measures to change to look like somebody else, right? So the distinction there would be, in terms of change, emotions, the emotional change, right? Not just the physical. the habitual change. Uh-oh. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So I just want to make the distinction in terms of not focusing only on the physical change. And we may know that intellectually, but it still feels the same, right? Almost on automatic pilot because we're conditioned. And number two, the very nature of social, a lot of things flash before your eyes that in milliseconds are not. And there are different narratives and stuff scripted around it that are eliciting different emotions, usually to get you to make a purchase for something or to feel like you don't measure up, you don't meet a certain standard if you don't look like this or that without this product. It's happening so quickly you don't even have a chance to really process it conscientiously, but it's happening all the time. I think it's actually destabilizing. I think it can lead to depression and a general dissatisfaction, right, with ourselves. So when we say we don't see change, if we can perhaps look at what are the details, what are the areas where we don't see change, right? One of the ones that comes up, I would say, like, let's say, for example, eating late at night, right? Eating late at night, or let's say if we say we don't get a movement practice in most days of the week when it would be ideal for us, or let's say we're engaging in a similar pattern of relating that feels toxic and draining with certain people. That could be at the job, that could be family members. It's a pattern. We know intellectually that it's not serving us. We can feel that it doesn't feel good, right? But it's still a pattern, right? So are there any things that you can identify that might be a rut for you? What you observe in other people? What do you observe in terms of ruts? Stuckness.
For me, um, for a long time, a rut was me doing the same thing and not getting the results I was looking for.
For
Um,
example.
um, I would put, okay, I would, you know how, I'm gonna slow down. I'm sorry. I'm talking so fast in my mind right now. Um, I would find routines or techniques or tools and I would try to implement them, and I wouldn't be able to stick to it or anything like that. Or it didn't, not only wouldn't I stick to the routine or the goal, but there was a disconnect or with my body and my mind. So I never checked in to see if it worked for me or not. I just was trying to force it. And what was the last thing? Not being honest with myself. And I think all of that helped. It actually made me stay in a rut, because if I actually took the time to be honest with myself and accept certain things, then I can then take the time to change, but not in like a negative way, not in like a judgmental way or something is wrong with me, but just in a way that will benefit me.
Mm. So you said not in a judgmental way. What would be an example of observing habits or things that are not changing? What would be a way that you would observe that feels judgmental in contrast to a way that's not judgmental? What's the difference in terms of how it?
Um, the difference between the two. Um, there's a difference between being judgmental and having self compassion. Self
Mm.
compassion means to accept yourself as you are, and then work to accommodate yourself. Whereas being judgmental is being overly critical. It's being negative. It's defeating. It's not actually working in your favor, if
Mm.
anything. Um, I don't think being judgmental helps anybody, because what does being overly critical and overly negative about yourself is going to do for yourself? It's not going to help you. If anything, it just reinforces negative self-belief, and it actually causes low self-esteem, anxiety, and depression, because it's like you're haunting yourself with these negative judgments that are not real, that you don't have to adhere to. You don't have to live by that.
Mm.
And it's two different things. Compassion is just it's just I love compassion. Self compassion is way better than being judgmental.
Mm. Do you feel more motivated to get into action?
As yes,
Action. Mm-hmm.
yes. I've been reading up on self compassion lately, and because of the readings, oh my god, I'm sorry, my cat just dropped my phone. Oh my god, pickles, please. Um, the more I read on self compassion, the more I feel motivated to do more for myself. I'm actually looking forward to challenges. I do have situations where sometimes things are difficult, but I don't know, just the idea of growth and the idea that I'm doing better for myself makes me feel good. Like I have a zeal for life now and I feel unstuck. Like
Mm.
it's like the point you give it, like the meaning that you give it.
Yeah, this sounds like a major shift. Your whole tone sounds different, right? What do you think? What do you think is like the reason, or what have you discovered differently, or what's different on your radar? Whereas you have more insight into compassion and self compassion that you didn't have before. What's different?
Um, what's different? I don't know. I don't know. I just decided one day I was just gonna accept myself and I was just gonna do whatever it took to take care of myself. I don't know. I don't and then I was going to let go of all these rigid expectations and just do whatever I needed to do for myself unapologetically. When I started becoming radical and I just started, you know, getting rid of the word should or I have to be this or that or the expectations were not it doesn't work for me. So once I just let everything go, I felt like I was able to embrace more.
Mm. So you would say you get more done, like slow and steady over time with the self compassion, than expectations that are too high for you. You know, at the time, would you say like one you feel more able to do more energetically, or?
As of late, in the last couple of weeks I've been actually doing way more.
Hmm.
And the reason is because going back to being honest, like I had to be like radically honest, non judgmental, empathy, like really having empathy for myself and being caring and loving and like the same way you love up on your children and you love up on yourself, right? Um, and I felt because of that, I just kept on instead of like you know thinking of what I'm not, I just kept on thinking of all of the options and ways that I can support myself. The moment like it was a mindset shift. Like I was just one of the things about myself is that I'm always like my superpower is like kind of overthinking. I like to analyze. I like to jump around in my brain a lot, and I had to accept that part of myself instead of being feeling bad about being an overthinker. I was like, let me utilize that, accept it, and I realized with me jumping around and me having all these ideas in my head that I can utilize it to support myself. And I could think of several different ways on the fly to support myself. And that was a big key shift for me because I realized um all of the stuff that I was doing before in the last couple of years was not for nothing. If anything, it's actually helping me now because I'm using that experience and but in this instance it's different because all of that knowledge I'm using it on the fly. I'm pivoting a lot more. I'm adjusting quickly. I'm assessing every day. Like I know for myself, like going back to self honesty, right? Being honest. Every day I don't know what my energy levels is going to be, where my mind is going to be, and how the day is going to go. But I do know I have the ability to shift quickly and think quickly. So if I have like a day when I'm low functioning, I just think of something that I can do that day that's low functioning. I I you know, I emphasize self-care. I slow down a little bit more and I still get what I want. So what I mean by that is like on like for instance, I give an example. Like on Saturday, I slept in late. I got up, I exercised, I cleaned, I did art, I did a lot of different things. I organized. I was like, you can never catch me on a Saturday doing anything but laying in the bed all day and scrolling on social media. I'm serious. It was a complete shift, and I'm like, and in the whole incident, right? The whole time this was going on, I felt good because I honored my flow and my state of being, and I kept checking in with my body, and and I got what I wanted. I was still productive, but without damaging not damaging my nervous system, but like not disturbing my nervous system. I just allowed myself to accept myself in that moment.
Mm,
And the same thing, I have days that I have high energy. Like a week or two ago, I broke up my exercise where I was doing 20 minutes in the morning, and then midday I'll do 20 minutes in the afternoon, or do an hour. So I just honor my state of being every single day, and all the stuff that I learned before I'm using now. So I feel like I'm unstuck. I feel like being able to forgive yourself and just pivot quickly
mm.
is like, just for me at least, like how is a way to move forward. Stop, like, the moment I just one thing about the voice journals and journaling in general, once I gave it all up about like these expectations and just accepted myself, I was like, everything just seemed to open right up. Like, and there are times where I feel like these expectations creep back in, but that's okay. I give myself a moment to think about it, and then I pivot right back into the state of mind that I want to be in, which is, I know, like for instance, um this is one of the topics that I was thinking about while I was walking at the park, which is how being too judgmental causes a lot of like mental health issues.
Mm.
And one of the things I was thinking about was like the things I would say to myself and how harsh it was. Like I would say stuff like, why can't you think this way? Why can't you move this way? What is wrong with you?
Mm.
I would say like weird, hurtful stuff. And then I would not only that, but I would have a high expectation to
Excuse me,
um
Stacey, Lily. How did you tune in to your internal self-talk, your internal dialogue?
when you
Was it just with the voice prompts and the recordings?
it's that and walking, because walking, when I walk, it's not just for exercise. It's kind of like me having a kind of not a conversation. It's just me, and I feel like I'm just spending time with myself when I'm walking, and I allow my thoughts to flow through
Mm.
uninhibited, and I think about a lot of different things. And I feel like the walking, it kind of, what the walking does, it calms me down, and it also gets rid of excessive anxious energy. And once the anxious energy is gone, then I'm able to actually have clarity and think about the things that are bothering me. And when I actually sit with those thoughts and I observe it, then I realize that a lot of the stuff that I was thinking about was did not serve me, that were hurtful. And from there, I thought of like, what would make more sense, with, going towards self compassion. And then by the time I finished walking, not only that I have like, it benefits me, walking benefits me in so many different ways. It's not even funny. Um, by the time I finish walking, I feel better because, um, I thought about a lot of different things, and usually, I come up with a solution at the end of the walk, or I'm more compassionate towards myself at the end of the walk, because it's kind of like me. It's like walking with a friend. I don't know how to explain it. Like me
More
converging with myself.
that your attention switches over from like the energy of what's been happening with your day or problems, and as you start to walk, that your channel switches.
Yes, the walking really helps with the anxious energy, the pent up. I noticed that I have a lot of like a hurricane of energy in my mind, and
Mm.
the walking does, it calms it down and it kind of disperses it. So then I'm able to organize the thoughts better, right?
Mm.
So in that moment, I'm thinking about the things that I would like to do for myself, and I've learned that it's being self defeating. It's not helping. So I just thought of ways of, I just accept whatever it is that is going on. Just accept it as it is, and then just move forward and just figure out a way to accommodate myself. Not think too much into something that's not going to serve me.
Mm. You said before, so you think before you were your internal dialogue was more self-defeating.
Yes, I was very overly critical. Very, it was just I'm like, it was like, why would I speak to my and the thing is, here's the thing though, I know logically that I'm not supposed to speak to myself like that, but it's like, what did I remember reading? It's like, your thoughts is what you give it. Like you're gonna think of stupid stuff throughout the day, but those stupid things that you think of, you either give it energy or you don't. And I realized that a lot of the self-defeating stuff that I was thinking about, I was giving it too much energy and too much power, and I was actually taking those negative thoughts and actually pulling them into the real world, as opposed to letting them flow through my mind and leave. So, because we all have thoughts, like random positive and negative thoughts is what we give it. So how much energy we give it. That's what I've been noticing lately. I just said to myself, you know what? I'm just going to do whatever I feel comfortable doing that will benefit me and be done with it. Like I had to like come off of a lot of stuff, expectations. Like I had expectations that certain exercises was going to save my life. Does that make sense? Like I would force myself to do things in a way that I expected it to work, as opposed to actually listening to my body. Um and the moment I started listening to my body is the moment everything started changing. And I don't know, I'm talking real fast, but I'm like,
Fine.
but I don't know, lately I just feel I'm happier. And guess what? Everything is still burning around me. Everything is still burning around me, but I'm like, it's whatever. I'm learning to let it be. Does that make sense? Like just let people be, let whatever it is around me be. And what you said before about you always have a choice is very real. Like you can't change certain things, but you do have a choice in certain things. And I just observe, accept, and then make a decision in my favor and not feel anything about it. Um, so I don't know. The moment I started accepting like radically accepting myself, the quirkiness, everything, and how my brain worked, I just felt free, and I just started doing more. I've done a lot in the last couple of days, and I'm not burnt out in any way, shape, or form. We had this conversation before about stuff that gives you energy.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been doing things that gives me energy and clarity, and I flock to it, and that's what I do. Like I noticed that, like, what you remember, we had this conversation about like not being able to wake up early in the morning.
Right.
I'm eating my words now, because now I'm actually getting up 5 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And here's why, because I'm like, I said to myself, this job is sucking the life out of me. Let me get my enrichment in first.
Right.
So
See, it's a different channel. Pay yourself first, because to leave off of this planet, you didn't get yours. That'll make you really bitter, angry, resentful. That's gonna make you want to go self-soothe.
you're very right. Like I go to bed at 7 o'clock. And then I'm up early, give myself enough time to sleep, and then I'm up probably a little earlier than 5 sometimes. Sometimes I get up at 4, sometimes I get up at 5. And then I do enrichment, like either I do whatever I want. Like, and what I mean by that is like usually either exercise, drawing, cleaning, organization, whatever I feel like doing. And I realized not not having a set thing, not having like a schedule or a routine. I'm gonna explain it. I'm getting everything done, but it doesn't have to be on a particular day. Does that make sense? Like I may mop.
On your energy level that day, let's say like you have 7 days. And out of 7 days, you have these different tasks to do. So you're picking what you want to focus on depending on how your energy level and your mood is that day.
Yeah. Like maybe if it's like a high energy day and I'm functioning the way I would like, well, if I'm functioning I'm high functioning, whatever, I'll mop the floor. But if I'm low functioning, I'll just do the dishes or do something. Like I just pick and choose whatever I'm interested in doing that day. And from what I've learned is everything is going to get done.
Mm.
Everything gets done. I just change everything on the fly. I do. I learned that nothing has to be set in the stone, and I can still move forward. Like the same thing with exercise.
Mm.
I've been randomly working out throughout the week whenever I feel like it. Whenever I have the time at work, I work out on my breaks. And I work out when I have certain energy levels. I'm like, okay, right now I have the moment. Let me just go do that. Or like I do know that I had to come to terms with that the afternoons is just the time for me to like decompress, relax, and get ready to go to sleep because it takes me a couple hours for my nervous system to calm down.
Mm.
And that has made a big difference in me waking up in the morning at 4 or 5 o'clock to do the things that I need for myself. So I had to honor myself in the afternoon. Like, no, there's no self improvement. There's no work. There's no this, that. There's no thinking about nothing. You're just gonna focus on rest, relaxation, um, honoring your nervous system, going to bed early, and then in the morning I just do whatever I want before work. Whatever I want. That opens up so many options. There's no set schedule. There's no like I had like it was a scheduler or book. Schedules don't work for me.
Mm.
There's like I wake up and I just want to do the dishes today, so I'll go do the dishes. Or I just jump around. I realize with the way my brain works, I jump around a lot and I'm like, why am I fighting that? Just do what my brain normally does and I can still move forward. And that's what I've been doing. Whatever interests me, um, that's what I do. Like I've been like I'm drawing. Like either I'm using pastels, color pencils. I just change up as often as possible, and I realize I'm still moving forward because I'm still gaining experience. The same thing with reading. I haven't read in a long time, like books in general, and I realize that because it gets boring after a little while just reading one book, and I realize that it makes sense to jump around and read several different books about the same topic. I'm still gaining the knowledge, but I'm still keeping I'm still interested. Does that make sense? Like
Perfect sense. I really like that you're honoring your own individuality and not trying to force yourself into somebody else's fingerprint. Perfect. And so you get all the things done. You just gauging your mood for the day or for the time of the day. Perfect. Perfect. So now I hear you doing art and your walks and your cleaning and decluttering, but it's the energy of it sounds so much more calm.
I'm coming to terms of just being erratic and all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I accept it, but like I'm trying to like flow with it.
Make it work for you.
It is. I'm like, you couldn't tell me many years ago. This is the first time in my life that I'm reading 3 books at the same time. Never in my life did I ever think that all I had to do. And here's the thing: I've done this before, and it never clicked. When I was in art school,
Mm-hmm.
every day we had like 2 art periods. It was art high school because we had regular performing arts stuff, and then we had the regular high school curriculum. We were given like 2-3 hours every day to work on our craft, right? So I'll go in art class and I would draw whatever I want every day. And I never thought there was no pressure to focus on one topic, like which is like foundational sketching or shading, color theory. I would jump around a lot, and guess what? By the time I had graduated art high school, I was the top of my class, and the whole time, the whole 4 years, I was jumping around in different subjects or sections of art itself, and I was gaining experience here and there in each section I was jumping around in, and I use all that accumulated knowledge to then form a piece of artwork that may be the best.
Mm.
Sometimes some people can work on things one at a time. I'm not that person. I can't do that. I
Mm.
have to jump around. It's just my thing. I like to be interested. I like curiosity. I like finding things out. And I learned that the difficult stuff that I don't want to do, I will do it if it means that it helps me do the stuff that's interesting to me. Does that make sense? Like,
That makes perfect sense. That's excellent. I'm so glad for you. So
but the last bit too. This little last bit has helped a lot, and just jumping around. Same thing with like my mental health. I jump around a lot on several subject matters of the things that I think about, and I feel like I'm moving forward now because it's like it's hard for me to focus on one issue when I have like it's not an issue, but whatever I got going on, I feel like when I touching every little thing, I feel like I'm still moving forward. Um, so just goes back to accepting my brain for what it is. I have a high level of my brain works really quickly, and it's in some cases trying to slow it down doesn't work. It just makes more sense to just work with it. So once I just accepted my brain for what it was and let go of the expectation of what my body was supposed to look like,
mm,
um, accepting where I'm at, and then looking forward to where I could be. Like I stopped looking in the mirror and I just wanted to focus on feeling good, and lately I've been feeling good in my body. The walks have been really helping me a lot. Um Feeling more when I go up, just to be able to walk up the stairs and not be out of breath is a blessing. I don't care what anybody say. Like it's just stuff like that, like letting go of the expectations of what you look like and just doing what is in the best interest of your body in general makes more sense than me just doing exercises to have a Coke bottle or to fit an aesthetic that is unrealistic. Because I'm a human being. I'm gonna grow older. My body is not gonna look like the way it looked when I was 20. So I'm like just accepting it is for what it is now, and just work on um my skin suit, make it feel, just really work on it, like make it run nicely so I'm able to do the things that I'm interested in doing. So when I don't think about what I look like and just focus on how the exercise benefits my body,
mm.
easy, I can do it now. And I know how I am. I know I'm walking right now, but I know I'm gonna accelerate, and the reason is I get bored after a little while. I'm gonna add stuff slowly, and it's gonna be fun and challenging and lighthearted.
And
And
you
because I've done this, hmm?
want, because from honoring yourself, you wind up doing more. Like you're um, neutralizing the mental resistance.
Yeah, just let it all go. Expectations don't work for me at all. Being malleable, flexible, and just I don't know. I don't know. Lately, I just was working. Even on my down days, I'm happy.
Well,
I'm just
that's
happy.
the nutrient right there.
Hmm?
That's the nutrient right there, because today you can have so much stuff and still just not feel good or just even content. Always feel like something's lacking. Like you just feel like disgruntled or never satisfied or unfulfilled. It's like an irritating undercurrent. But likely, if you're feeling better, the other stuff will come and it feel. That's what I was saying before. Like if you move and you do things because of the way it makes you feel, you're leaving an imprint on your psyche. In addition, to me, that's the leverage activity. That's the shortcut to high esteem, because you're doing something now for yourself, and you're giving messages to your subconscious that you're worth it. You're demonstrating your ability to move through something that was difficult, and now it's not even difficult. Like I'm excited to do this. It becomes more like I get to do this rather than I have to. So then you're more likely to complete the thing because of how it makes you feel. That's the part nobody can take away from you. That's the imprint that you're leaving on your psyche. That's affecting how you feel about what you're doing.
That's exactly it. You said it way better than I could have said it. That's exactly it. I just how it makes me feel, and then the challenge too, because we spoke about this on and off about gamifying certain things, and I am gamifying a lot of things. Like if I feel stuck somewhere, I figure out how to um incorporate it with something that I'm interested in doing. Like for instance, I was having issues with like incorporating somatic exercise, because the thing with the whole I know I don't talk about it a lot, but I'm gonna say it here. But like the whole somatic exercise for me, it makes me emotional.
Mm.
It brings up a lot of emotion. I get tearful and I get like not in a bad way because I understand that that's part of the process. But right after I do the somatic exercise, I go on the walking pad or I go to the park because I know that it helps with the anxiety, the anxious energy, or the built up emotions that I need to release. If that makes sense. And then after I go to the somatic exercise, the walk in, then I go do art. Because that's something that I'm looking forward to. Does that make sense? It's like I'm stacking it in a way
Mm-hmm.
where I'm doing the work, I'm soothing myself, and I'm also having fun.
Nice. I mean, you to me, you've been already doing great, but this is like such another big jump. It's such another big jump. It's another big paradigm shift. So again, it's yet another area of nuance that most people are not really making the connection because it's something to be experienced more than it is to be intellectualized, right? So when you change the channel, you're having a mental, emotional experience, right? We can look at people online and look at their bodies and other stuff. Usually the mental experience is, I'm not that. You know, I feel this is going to be a struggle. In contrast to allowing your imperfect self to have certain experiences. You deserve it. Being very conscientious and intentional with your self-talk. You're doing tremendous. Most people won't do this stuff, you know, but yet keep steady trying to lose weight, but the operating system never changes.
The more here's the thing, the more that I do enrichment and self connection, the more I eat less. I noticed that. The
Mm-hmm.
happier I am, the more I have more fulfilling things, the more I have more interests and hobbies, the more I eat less. I was using food as a means to fill a void.
Mm.
And um and now that I'm thinking about all the things I can do, I'm not focused so much on food. Does that make sense? Like my mind's shifted elsewhere.
So you don't need to
Um
self much because you're soothing yourself by giving yourself the experiences that you would like to have while you still have a human suit. Now, like,
yeah.
yeah, excellent.
Uh, and also, the arrested fast, I really like doing it because it gives me a moment to think about my hunger, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Um in the beginning it was difficult, but then when I actually sat with the hunger cues, I realized that a lot of the hunger cues were stressed. I'll give an example. I was watching something on TikTok that stressed me out. I literally felt my stomach growl
Mm.
and I was hungry for all I was so hungry. I was like, where is this coming from? I got off of TikTok and I sat with the sensation in my body and it went away.
Mm.
And I'm like, this is not real hunger.
Really hunger, or was it a stress response?
My stomach did growl, and I felt like a strong need to eat something. I thought that was hunger, but I don't think it really was.
Okay, so let's pause right here. This is good. So we have enough. We have extra fuel stored in the body, yes.
Yes.
And we've discussed this before, but it's good to continue to go back and to reflect. Technically, if we've got like days, pounds, right, of excess fuel stored in the body, technically we should not be hungry, right? Why are we experiencing hunger if we already have enough fuel stored in the body? Thoughts?
Um, it might be conditioning because whenever I felt stressed out, I would go eat, and that was a way of soothing myself.
Mm-hmm. So,
So it's
so let's unpack that. During the soothing process, right? If we unpack what's happening chemically in the body when we're stressed, the chemical reactions in the body, and somehow it's registering as hunger. What what do you observe is happening there chemically in your body that is registering as hunger?
I don't know. I don't know that part.
Blood sugar.
Blood sugar. Okay.
Hormones, fight or flight, right? But a lot of it is also blood sugar. Blood sugar is out of whack. And then also if we have excess adipose tissue, not as much, what do you call it? Not as much muscle, will become insulin resistant. So the body's not, when you eat, is not secreting, either for many of us it stops secreting, eventually it becomes diabetic. Many of us are pre-diabetic, or not producing efficiently and effectively insulin to manage and to break down and store the fuel that you're eating. So that means when you break down the fuel, you're not getting, or you're not producing enough insulin to drive that fuel into the cells. And if it's too much fuel, it's too much fuel. So when we're upset or we're angry, that's a whole chemical process, right? We got all different types of hormones, chemical hormone production in the body as in response to stress, excitement, relaxation, fight or flight, dopamine, serotonin, epinephrine. It's all kind of chemical. If you think about it from a chemical standpoint, we've got fuel, but if we're insulin resistant, we're not able to break down and access that fuel. Sometimes too much fuel, too much processed fuel without any fiber to buffer and drip that nutrition in, right? A lot of our habits over the years have made us become very sugar dependent. Every time we reach to sugar and processed foods, we ingrain that habit and pattern deeper into the body. So it becomes, we have an emotional connection to it. We become more insulin resistant every time, right? Because we're doing it over and over, sometimes several times a day, right? In succession, one after another. So at that point, we're not able to effectively process the fuel. And then we wind up storing a lot of it as fat. It's just not being used efficiently. It's not being tapped into efficiently. And at this age and stage, that is conditioned into the body physiologically, right? And also mentally and emotionally. Does that make sense? Uh-oh. Let's see if you got bumped out. Yeah, so I was saying, after so many years of, of our habits and ways of managing or striving to manage stress, the insulin resistance is chemical. It is also emotional, right? It's mental and emotional, and it's chemical, right? So that means it's a disconnect. We're disassociated. We're not fully understanding it. And when we're in fight or flight mode and when we're stressed out, the body's doing these things automatically at this point. This is years of habits. This is years of not having tools. This is years of it not really being effectively and efficiently explained to us what is the process of, if I don't have outlets, if I don't eat enough real food, then my body is going to store, it's all kind of chemical processes that are going to take place, and my body's not going to be able to effectively manage the fuel that I am eating. And when I eat it, especially if it's processed, the body's going to store it as fat. And if I don't have a movement practice, I don't have strength training, then over time, you have more and more adipose tissue on the body, which is also inflammatory in nature. It's a whole chain, it's a cascade of events, which we didn't learn this in school. That would have been ideal to understand this as a young person. For somebody to break it down later and not just explain it intellectually, right? As children, this is why it's a crime to take away play and active time out of school, and not to have communication skills, and not to teach children about their psyche and how your behavior, doesn't just affect other people, but how you're affecting yourself, how you manage anger or you don't manage anger, and how you may perhaps be processing the things that are happening at home. These are things that could be taught, We got people on the moon. These are things that could be taught, but you're on your own. So by the time we become adults, a lot of times there's been a lot of conditioning. As I tell you, don't underestimate conditioning. That's why I tell you, who do I study all the time? Drug addicts. Drug addicts could teach you, if we pause on the stigma and the and the judgment. All of us are on an addiction spectrum, but nobody wants to say that. But look around. That's a conflict of interest for companies. At the point, there's vending machines. It's like, where's the gardens in the church? Where's the track? Where's the nonviolent communication workshops? No, but we are constantly invited to either we're given vices. When you even try to come off drugs, they'll give you candy and cigarettes in the treatment centers. So it's really just trading one vice, and that's stuff you subsidize one vice for another. But where's the massive conversation about going to the root? And it's not just a conversation. This has to be modeled. It's something to be experienced. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes absolute sense.
And the type of creatures, the type of species that we are, species that is easily manipulated through fear and trauma, where we are not going to operate logically. We're just not. That has been demonstrated. Look around the globe. We're easily manipulated through the fears, right? Fear of poverty, fear of death, fear of illness, fear of old age, fear of loss of love or never finding love, fear of criticism, aka judgment. That's across the board. So even with knowing all this stuff, it's like, if we just can have enough compassion to be clear and understand for ourselves and others, so we can then be more strategic, which is what I observe you doing now, being more strategic. If we could really just be clear and honest and understand that when we're triggered, most of the intellect is going to go out the window, because fight or flight means I have to survive and I got to survive now. We don't even have time to think. Your autonomic nervous system is going to kick in to protect you. That's how the ego is formed, our sense of self, right? In society, you better look good, or you won't eat, or you might be treated better, you might be abused a little less, you might have something to sell to trade for some food. I know it sounds horrible, but you look at the species, look at the focus so much on aesthetics and not on character, not on real self-care. It's much superficial stuff on dressing up these damaged egos and traumatized emotions, right? We're playing dress up, right? So the stuff underneath is not being addressed because it's profitable. That's the only reason you don't need real chattel slavery for the most part, is humans will volunteer ourselves for slavery in order to self-soothe.
You know, while listening to you, I realized something.
Mm.
Um, I realized survival mode for me means desperation, and desperation means disconnection of my body and self sabotage. Because when you're desperate, you don't think, you're
Mm.
not you're not considerate of yourself. You're not thinking ahead. You're not strategic. You're not thinking about what you're doing. You're just doing whatever to avoid whatever you're fearing. And I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm like, this is what I've been doing for years. Um, I was afraid to leave it because it was effective. Abandoning myself was effective because I still got some of my needs met, not all of it, but
Mm.
some things. The bare basic needs were met.
Mm.
To to step once to step outside of survival mode, I realized I can get what I want. I don't have to just survive. I can thrive. But that will actually I would have to give up fear, and I would have to be honest, and I would have to trust myself. The
Mm-hmm.
thing with survival mode too is like you don't trust yourself either. I noticed that. It's desperation and lack of self trust.
I'll interject one thing, right? So we don't put too much pressure and expectations on ourselves, right? The trust is something that's cultivated, it's built slow, just like muscle. It's slow. Over time, people just gonna, that's why you got a lot of folks, just like the women have BBLs. You have so many young boys now taking steroids. It's the equivalent of a female with a BBL. But real muscle that lasts, you don't build muscle unless you have some really challenging stimulus. You can't get fit without actually getting fit. So it's a shortcut. But a lot of these guys deflate and also start aging very quickly, start getting receding hairline, clog up the arteries from taking these different steroids. Just like women have negative, many of us have negative effects from putting these toxic substances into the body as a shortcut, right? As a shortcut. So you're actually doing quite a bit of work intentionally and conscientiously. I cannot say enough. I cannot say enough about how critical that is, because we are in so much resistance to that. And in society today, it's usually very performative, right? You can say, "Oh, look at my journal. Oh, I got my Gucci journal. What kind of? Oh, I have my Yves Saint Laurent journal in my pen." It becomes very performative, right? Because it's uncomfortable. It's often not pretty, right? To see and to acknowledge damage that's been inflicted on us, damage that we have allowed, the stuff that you can't see mentally and emotionally. It's a tall order. In and of itself, you're so scared that those fears are going to take you out, those basic human fears. But what you're doing, you're being intentional about slowing down to do the work, and actually you've been very committed. Even when you think you haven't fallen off, you staying in the conversation. Now you're moving beyond saying you're more. I would say more advanced in the conversation. Why? Because I can hear it. The exercises that you're doing, and also how you're experiencing these exercises, like it's becoming pleasant to you. So I'm watching your paradigm shift, and all the same amount of hours in a day. All of a sudden, you're getting walking and cleaning and artworking. Wow. Paradigm shift. No perfection. We don't need the perfection. We'll never be perfect, but you're really doing the work that we hear all the time, doing the work, doing the work, doing the work. People can go in and lie to their therapist, People go in and lie to their therapist, right? So you're going to lie into the voice recorder? You're going to lie into the tape recorder? Because you would only be fooling yourself. I mean, I don't necessarily listen to what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? So when you say radical honesty, to have radical honesty with compassion for yourself, you can't have that unless you're actually now starting to listen to your thoughts. So I just want you just acknowledge and let you know, like, the exercises and the distinctions that you're making are really leverage lifestyle practices. And it's a big part of what many people are missing. Yeah, definitely. I'm so proud of you. And your whole language is continually changing. I'm happy. Stuff is burning all around you. I'm happy. You just had a major crisis a couple of weeks ago, and you're like, I'm happy. I'm getting my walks in. Heck, I'm on the floor painting. Hello. How does that feel?
Empowering.
Mm. You know, interesting choice of words. Early, and I was in here cleaning, and we spoke about this before, but I was just quietly moving around. I was thinking about, I've mentioned it before, disempowering language, disempowering conversation, right? It's so insidious. It is so tempting to, in stating what has happened to us, which may be, is likely accurate, and what we have experienced. What comes through the back door a lot of times is a language that's disempowering at the end. It's the way we're having conversation, the period on the end of the sentence, the feeling that we're left with and that we're leaving each other with is almost like, yeah, this is what happened to me, and this is just it. I can't do nothing because the government did this, and he or they did this, and the president did this. So it's a feeling like there's nothing I can do. So when you feel like that, you might as well go eat whatever just for pleasure, because it's almost like it's over now. It's pointless. I can't affect any kind of change, because look at the evidence. I kept failing.
Is there a thing like that you will find what you're looking for, and you have to be very, like, with social media, because social media will echo back what you're thinking. So it's, again, the point you give it. If it has no point, then it has no point. But if it has a meaning, then it is what you give it. I didn't understand what that meant. You got to figure out what what your life means to you, what you want for yourself, what you will allow and what you won't allow. Going back to I'm actually going to start cutting back on social media. It's eating up a little bit too much of my time. I have a social media tracker,
Oh,
and
great.
I'm
Ask you if you have one of the screen time apps on your phone.
gonna cut it back because I noticed, like what you were talking about, what's going on in the government. I don't. As soon as I see something on my feed about the government, I scroll away. You're not going to trigger me into some bullcrap. I refuse to let it trigger me. Does that make sense? I'm controlling what I consume mentally now because I noticed that like the self defeating content, it it triggers like it doesn't it stresses me out. Like my body automatically gets stressed out and then I start ruminating and I want to eat. And I don't like that.
You feel like there's nothing I can do, and then somebody's sharing that conversation with you, and you start amening it. So you don't even realize how it's deeply affecting you.
Like I'm learning not to incorporate like to internalize things, but the first part of that I have to learn to shut it off. Like I can't I no, I can't consume it. I don't know, visually or mentally or through my ears. No, and the less I'm not ignoring my environment. I understand what's going on within the country, but that does not mean that I have to constantly trigger myself into desperation, into stress, into doom. Why do I have to be exposed to doom every day? No, there's more to life than doom. There's other things that I can do, and that
You
goes back to
recipes are just going to the park, and then other people will tell you you can't stick your head in the sand. Why not?
I go to the park. Everything can be burning in the United States, but I go to the park. Oh, that's fine. Listen, I'm going to color. Okay, the economy is whatever. The economy is going down the crap hole. I'm still going to go draw. I don't know what to say. Like I can't control it. The moment I start let go of what the environment was and just focus on what I could control is the moment that I felt so much better. Like do what I can, do the right thing, be responsible, but also move forward. Like I just focus on what I can do. I don't have the mental capacity to deal with all the social issues or anything that's going on. Like what you said before, like voting for yourself. I vote for me. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do for my own um growth. Leave it at that.
I said that's what you can do. That's all I got. That's all I got for you. Anything I ain't got nothing else for you, man. My pockets are empty. If you're not talking about fruits and vegetables, you want to split a case of limes or some sweet potatoes, that's all I got for you. I don't know anything else. I don't know what to tell you. I don't have the bandwidth. I don't
I don't
because
engage in none of it. I don't want to talk about no politics, religion, nothing. I don't want to talk about sports. I don't care about your baby's father. I don't care. That's so mean. I had a coworker try to vet.
is it mean or is it healthy?
It's healthy because I'm controlling what I consume. I don't want to like
You know what
I'm not what's the word? I'm not like
it sounds like
empathetic to
water.
people. Hmm?
It sounds like not drinking water with E. coli in it. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. I'm like it's true you can if you're not careful you may catch you may pick up and internalize on energy that will throw you off. That's I understand what they mean by not what they mean by like who you kind of keep around will kind of affect you and determine how far you get in life because they may be on another wavelength and you are on another one and it's not out of like hatred or not hatred it's not out of not I'm learning it's not about it being right or wrong as much as it's about it's just not aligned. Does that make sense? Not it's not right or wrong. It's more like I'm just not aligned with that person. So I don't hate them for whatever they're going through, but I understand that I can't internalize what they're going through. It's like a neutral way of thinking. I'm like, I am not here to listen to your baby daddy's drama. Please go to a therapist. I don't get paid for that. I don't have the mental capacity to the space to hold it. I had to say that to a coworker. I'm like, don't cry to me, girl. I don't know what to tell you. Like, and I told her where to go to get therapy. Like, the therapist is paid for that. I can't do it. I don't have the vessel to hold that, especially since I'm currently. Hmm?
That's honest. That's honest. If you don't have it, you don't have it.
I'm actually, because of that, I'm more. I think now before I speak, even though I know I talk all over the place. Like, I'm a lot more quiet now, and I just observe people, not out of like something negative or guarded, just accepting them for what they are. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't. Lately, I'm just not thinking too much into. That's the problem. I think too much, and I put too much on too many things, and that's energy that can be placed in self development. So, um,
You see, we're creatures of habit. So it's like, is it being that you know that we're likely to mimic and to copy, and it's likely our, with all this advanced technology, we're likely going to be triggered. Then use it to your advantage. If you're going to be triggered, you might as well trigger yourself in the direction, like nature is going to trigger you, but it's going to trigger you into calm and relaxation, and you come out of the park and like you have a fresh perspective. So if you're going to be triggered, make it work for you. If you're going to eat on automatic pilot, make it work for you. Your table is spilling over with fruits and vegetables, make it work for you.
one of the tools I had just recently learned, right, was instead of trying to take away add. So, and that kind of it clicked immediately, and I've been doing it already with the go bags. Um, Like, now I'm actually beefing it up with the go bags. I have several now on me while I'm at work. So whenever I have a sugar craving or something like that, I eat cucumbers. Like, I'm on a cucumber fix right now. So I have like a couple cucumbers in the bag, an apple, grapes, or something. I put a lot of variety in the bag because I like the option of, like, like a gourmet option. Like I'm at a table with all the fruits and vegetables, like a cornucopia, and then I just reach over and I pick whatever I want. Like, I'm romanticizing, and this is how I
Nice.
think. Like, oh, ooh, I can pick this grape. Anyway,
But
and
that's
it's fun.
right. We really do have the one life. So why not romanticize your own life that you have to live everything in contrast to romanticizing everybody else's. When you romanticize everybody else's, okay, that's nice, but after a while you're left feeling again what you don't have and what you can't do. In contrast to making your food cute and your lunch bag and your cloth napkins cute, curating your house and feng shuiing up where you move the plants, and you know what I'm saying? You're just making life, it's a way of making your life sweet for yourself. And it doesn't have to cost you $1 million.
True.
It really doesn't. It's like you got to give yourself the sweet life. But it doesn't mean necessarily buying more things. The real estate right now that's being hijacked is your mind. That's the real estate right now that's being hijacked at a premium. And it's not enough clothes and not enough money to replace your mind. Mm-mm. They pale in comparison. It's no comparison. So good for you for giving yourself. I'm so proud of you with the artwork. Oh my gosh! So you got movement and fitness, and you just really sound like, I hear so much growth, continued growth, continued growth, continued growth. Making time for reading, and you just had a major crisis.
Oh, I had a couple after that. It's whatever. I don't know. I just was like, I did the best I could do in each and every situation. I learned from it, and I'm just gonna move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to trust that I have the ability to do better next time. Like what you said about developing trust over time is really true. Like, the more I just trust myself, the less I overthink, the less I have problems. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just part of life. We're gonna have ebbs and flow. I'm gonna be up sometimes. I'm gonna be down sometimes. I'm gonna have problems. Um, I'm not gonna try to control. One of the things I had an issue with was overthinking and trying to I would try to stop bad things from happening, right? By preparing as much as I can. And I realize that's not how life works. You can't control what happens all the time. And um things happened recently, and I'm like, whatever. I did what I could for it, and then I let it go. Like,
Good for you. That's what's up. That's what's up. So I'm so proud of you with the work. I'm so proud of you. It's good.
I have my bike. I have to I've been meaning to ride it, but I haven't because it's been raining a lot. So once the weather clears up, I'm gonna start that.
Mhm. And
Um, um
I heard you also using the walking pad again. Yes.
well, it's a tool. Like if I can't get it in outside, I'm gonna get it in the house. I'll figure it out. That's how I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
But you see, this is such a major shift for you in terms of like you just really cracked the code. You just really cracked the code when it comes to mental resistance. I want you to remember this moment. You is one of many, but you just cracked a code. You just cracked the code of mental resistance. I heard four major things that you're doing differently. You were doing a voice recorder. You're going deeper in with that. Using the walking pad, going back outside, doing your walking, doing the journals, and the coloring, and you're doing the Ziploc. I'm just saying. I'm just.
And
It's one
the
thing that
organ
I'm trying. That's not a trying. That's a definite series of doing. And you can't do, even if you're doing perfectly, you make progress.
I know I just want to point this out. Throwing out my dishes was the best thing I could ever done for me. I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Really?
I have listen. It takes me 5 minutes to do the dishes. Oh my god! Like I don't need all the. Actually, I'm think I'm gonna throw out some more stuff because I don't even need as much many. I have dishes, but like
It's streamlining, right? And then
yeah,
you make more space for the things. I realize having too much stuff, you got so much stuff you don't even put your hands on your favorite things because it's just you can't. It's too much stuff. I say all the time we have more things than we can ever wear in 365 days. But then when you look at other stuff, you keep it because just in case. It's so much stuff that's just in case, but it's a burden to manage this stuff. It's so much time and it's taking up mental clutter. Don't underestimate mental clutter. It takes up a lot of space. So to streamline, actually, I'm going to be sharing some styling videos with you just to, they're good exercise, and I love to play them while going through a decluttering session. So you can continually have more of a paradigm shift. This is not about necessarily about shopping, but it's continuing. We did some styling before, but it's continuing to curate the form of self-expression, your style. And I know you're very artistic and stylish. Shopping your closet, learning proportions for you, and also asking yourself certain questions about the things that you're holding on to that are just taking up a lot of mental space. And, realizing if you let them go, you make space for less things that are manageable, but things that you really love and enjoy, right? It's like spending, excuse me, spending like buying 16 bags of cheap potato chips when I could have bought a couple of organic Japanese sweet potatoes, some organic Jewel sweet potatoes, and I could have just drizzled it with some flax oil and some flaked Celtic sea salt.
that sounds good. Ooh,
Right. One is real. One is recreation. I would consider recreational eating without making bad or wrong. It just is. It's recreational eating. It's just crunch and flavor, but that's it. It's not going to make you feel satiated. I call it recreational eating. What I coin it. I call it recreational eating. But the other one is enjoyable, and it's substance. It's substance. It's a different experience. Different experience. All right, mademoiselle. So I'm gonna put a thumbnail on this, and put this inside of the Sunday coaching session. And also, I'm gonna put a couple of the styling videos for you to look over. And I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. I think they'll really inspire you to do more decluttering, but to go like deeper into decluttering. Like you really want to enjoy the things that you have on, whatever your occupation is, but based on your occupation, your lifestyle, what's comfortable. And so you're just really walking around feeling really good in your skin and feeling good in your body, feeling good in your clothes. Yeah, because feeling good is important. All right, mademoiselle, any final thoughts?
no final thoughts. A good session as always. Thank you.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. All right, we'll connect soon.
All right, bye. Have a good afternoon.